This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, we already know that because I think we say that almost every day. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Friday, October the 17th of 2025, day 90th, or 290th, better saying, of the year, and only 75 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big, streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh, yes, that's what we do. We hang out, we do our stuff, and then we kind of vanish. Well, that sounds like something else, but we'll leave it at that. So a lot of things going on inside of the multiverse. How has your last 24 been? Hopefully good and grand. I love waking up this morning, having a new Canon song waiting in the music dispenser. All I need. So, yep, there you go. I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? Now I'm doubting my own memory. All I need. Yes, that's it. So that dropped this morning. Good single, I think. I have to take a listen to it a couple more times. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. Let's talk about what our show consists of. It's about talking about safety in the news, nudes and safety. That's kind of what we do around here. So if you want to interact with us, it's easy to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. And then once you get there, video, audio, and text messaging are the options of the things that you can do in that side of the multiverse. And then we go from there. That's just kind of how the whole layout of the whole thing works. And then that's it. Then we move on and go forth. Outside of that, our show consists of safety in the news and safety, but it is Friday, so that means that it's Freeform Friday, so we're going to catch up on everything that we didn't talk about earlier in the week. Because what happens is all the news stories start to stack in regards of what's going on, and then a lot of interesting stuff happening, Outside of that, we'll bring in our friends from Feature Story News. They'll talk a little bit about what's going on, because that's what happens on that side. And then we move around. That is it. No other thing going on inside of that. So if you're good with this, I'm good with this. We can start talking about what the hell was trending in the overnight. Because, people want to know what the hell to prepare for. So let's do that.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, it goes something like this. Notable and noteworthy, a mountain-themed adventure. We'll talk about that. Also, Diane Keaton Cause of Death is released, and more from Kevin Federline's memoir. We'll talk about that in show business, because some people are going to want to do that. Also, Kristen Cavallari signs a new mega deal. Hold on. Signs a new mega deal for her podcast. And also, Jim Carrey's is in talk to star in a film adaptation of an animated classic. We'll talk about that here in just a few. And a historic box of cake crumbs hits the auction box. A box of cake crumbs. Yeah, I did say that correctly. I don't think that you're losing it. So I have my friends waiting from Feature Story News wanting to talk about what the hell's going on with the news. So if you're good to go, I'm good to go. So let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. President Trump will welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House on Friday. It comes after confirmation that Mr. Trump will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin again, this time in Budapest. Their first summit in Alaska drew criticism for failing to make progress on ending the war in Ukraine. Pablo Gutierrez reports from Budapest.
U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed the Budapest talks after separate phone calls with Putin and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. The White House said both sides agreed to continue discussions that began in Alaska in August. Orban said he spoke with Trump on Thursday and called the conversation encouraging, saying Hungary is honored to host talks focused on peace in Ukraine. Trump said the meeting could happen within about 2 weeks, with senior advisors from both sides scheduled to meet next week to prepare the agenda. The Alaska summit drew sharp criticism from Western officials who said Trump gave Putin a platform without results. Now, with Budapest set to host round 2, expectations are high for real progress.
Meanwhile, the European Commission is reportedly seeking to expand the funds available from frozen Russian assets. According to Politico, the EU wants to use an additional $30 billion sitting in private bank accounts to finance loans for Ukraine. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
The European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas is pushing to convert frozen Russian assets into loans for Ukraine. Earlier this week, she reiterated that Moscow should bear the cost of the war and not European taxpayers. The European Union continues to deliberate on whether to use roughly $160 billion in immobilised assets to financially support Kyiv. And the Commission reportedly wants to consider adding a further $30 billion in private bank accounts to the pot. There are concerns over the legality of such a move, with Russia threatening to sue the bloc should they move ahead with the plan.
Madagascar has a new leader. Colonel Michael Randrianarina has been sworn in as a transitional president. The colonel seized power in a rapid military coup that ousted the former president and forced him to flee the country. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has described a ban on Israeli fans attending a match against Aston Villa next month as the wrong decision. It was made by the local body responsible for issuing safety certificates in Birmingham and backed by West Midlands Police. Maccabi Tel Aviv are due to visit Villa Park in the Europa League on the 6th of November. West Midlands Conservative MP Saqib Bhatti says he's horrified by the ban.
It's a bad decision for the Jewish community. After 2 years of protests where anything goes, the attack in Manchester, and now this.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, ending this possibly momentous week in the Middle East with an update on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. As people start returning to whatever is left of their homes in the territory, there is still a desperate need for food, medicine and other humanitarian supplies. Aid agencies and the United Nations are now calling on Israel to allow thousands of trucks to enter Gaza, and they want more entry points beyond the Rafah crossing that connects the Strip with Egypt. Ricardo Perez is a spokesperson for UNICEF.
Aid is getting in, it's just not getting in at the right quantity. The scale of destruction after over 2 years of war, unrelenting violence, and UNICEF managed to get a few dozen since Sunday, but the scale of need, the desperation, the deprivation that has been imposed on the people of Gaza, on over 1 million children, is just colossal, and it will take a lot more time and a lot more political will to make a difference beyond the temporary ceasefire.
Earlier this week, Israel said it would cut the number of aid convoys permitted to enter Gaza because Hamas failed to return all the promised bodies of hostages who died over the last 2 years of conflict. Hamas then handed over the remains of 3 more people to the Israelis and said they are continuing to try and locate burial sites where other hostage remains may be recovered. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, President Trump will welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House on Friday. It comes after confirmation that Mr. Trump will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin again, this time in Budapest. Meanwhile, the European Commission is reportedly seeking to expand the funds available from frozen Russian assets. And UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has described a ban on Israeli fans attending a match against Aston Villa next month as the wrong decision. That's the latest feature story news. John Beaver reporting.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef prepared, dietitian approved,
and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Another great hour of freeform radio. Or is it Radio Big?
Of course, it's another great hour of stuff for us to do together because that's kind of what happens around here. So here we go, 16 minutes past the top of the hour, and we're going to start talking a little bit about everything going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So let's take it from the top. While some people enjoy a shower as a way to relax, the others say that they might be just too much work. Enter the human washer in the future, made by Japanese company Sakin. Yeah, the users lays down inside of the pod and watches a movie while the automated hoses and nozzles spray warm water and soap. Sensors also display measurement of physical and mental wellness of the interior walls. The futuristic contraption are the first expected to show up in hotels. The company says it has 6 orders has been placed. This is according to The Sun. I mean, don't get me wrong here. I understand automation, but it's kind of weird. I didn't expect that we're going to get automated self-washing here. It's kind of an interesting one. What do you think? It kind of makes it kind of a weird one. I mean, I don't know. The human washing machine or
washing machine.
So there you go. I don't know. Some interesting stuff always going on, no doubt about that. Anyways, another safety concern at Yellowstone with park rangers on furlough base jumping is the other thing that's come up. Visitors have reported that uptick of sighting of people leaping off the sides of the cliffs before parachuting down, namely from the iconic El Capitan. At least 8 people have been spotted attempting the feat. While the base jumping isn't allowed in the national parks, there aren't enough rangers on hand to enforce the rule. Speaking of mountains, American Jim Morrison, not the rocker, has become the first descent of Mount Everest north to face route, a notoriously challenging path on skis. On Wednesday, marked Morrison's 3rd attempt to ski the route, which he completed just over 4 hours, crossing nearly 10,000 vertical feet of elevation to the nearest camp. Also on hand were Chin and Che Varskachi, who filmed the feat. They've also were the directors who made the 2018 documentary hit Free Solo. Morrison spread the ashes of his late partner who died 3 years ago after falling while climbing in Nepal, the world's 8th highest peak, according to the National Geographic. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Congrats there, because that sounds like a feat to do. There is no way that the average person could pull that off. But man, having a name like Jim Morrison and walking into a room, you know that some weird expectations are happening right away. People are going to want to know right away, are you a singer? How could you handle these things? How do you do this? How do you do that? It's just kind of the common path of everything that's going on. There is no doubt there how we are doing this. So just keep that in mind as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking. A Picasso work has disappeared while en route to an exhibition in Spain. Authorities say the painting, Still Life with Guitar, estimated to be worth about $700,000. $700,000 has been kept in a private collection in Madrid, but it went missing while being transferred to Granada. So far, no word on suspects or leads, or even if it was stolen or missing due to administrative error. This is according to Barron's. You know, I always think about stuff like that when it comes up, like the movie The Italian Job and stuff like that. Like these big heist movies always come to mind. Not that that's what's going on in that side of the planet in Spain, but geez, man, it's just interesting when you start hearing about this. No doubt about that. So let's continue talking. Take a listen to this. More than 1 million tickets have been sold for next year's World Cup. Let that sink in for a moment. FIFA announced the numbers Thursday, noting that tickets were purchased from people in 212 different countries, with most buyers being in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. The three nations will host the event. Tickets to the World Cup final in East Rutherford, New Jersey are ranging between, are you ready for this? I hope you're sitting, $9,358 to $57,500 per seat. Those who purchased the tickets in the first round of availability were selected out of 4.5 million applicants in the lottery that took place last month. The next entry period opens on October the 27th. The FIFA World Cup is scheduled to take place between June the 11th of 2026 and July 19th of 2026. So there you go. The World Cup rocketh for sure, as we are talking right there. Okay. So, unfortunately, you know, we get to share some news that's not always the loveliest stuff. That's kind of how it goes with the show, because we talk a little bit about everything. But something happened yesterday. I was reading some stuff yesterday, and then something happened yesterday. I was total shock. So, Ace Frehley from Kiss fame has died. He was the original lead guitarist and one of the founding members of the band Kiss. In the statement released by his agent, Frehley suffered complications after having a recent fall and died surrounded by friends and family. He was 74. I will tell you, I was reading a report yesterday that he was on life support, and it said due to a brain bleed. And then hours afterwards, the note was sent out that he had passed away. I was kind of in shock because, I mean, I remember a few weeks ago, there was a convo that, well, not a few weeks ago, I should probably say that differently. A few months ago, there was a convo of him trying to join Kiss's last event that they were doing. So I don't know. It's a really rough one for the Rock Day. I mean, no doubt about that. Think about it. I mean, Ace Frehley has been a staple, I mean, in regards of bands for a long period of time. I mean, I look at it and I go, wow, I just kind of never thought about that. But these are the things that are happening. I mean, it's one of those things. Don't even know what to say anymore. So in some other news, let's continue talking about some other stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Let's get into the swamp. President Trump spoke to Vladimir Putin yesterday ahead of today's meeting with meeting at the White House with Vladimir Zelensky. Trump said American and Russian foreign policy teams will meet in person soon to discuss the ending of the war in Ukraine, and that Trump and Putin will meet personally in Hungary soon thereafter. I believe that the progress was made with today's telephone conversation, Trump said. So there you go. Okay. So let's continue getting into it. Chuck Schumer says that Senate Majority Leader John Thune has not brought in a proposal to get Democratic votes to reopen the government, but there's nothing to negotiate. Democrats have more than 6 times now voted down a continuing resolution that keeps spending at the current levels. The kind of spending that has led to $1 trillion plus annual budget deficits. Unless Democrats are serious about cutting spending, there's just nothing to negotiate, and they're not serious. So this is according to the editor as we are talking. I don't know. How long do you think this one's going to last? The government shut down this time. I don't know. Just interesting times as we are going on. I was taking a look around. I did not realize, and I have to make sure that I pull up the correct information here. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing because I always hate that, and then I have to go back and be like, hey, I screwed this up. But if I remember correctly, I think there's protests scheduled across the country for Saturday. So we'll see what happens. And it's protesting against the president. So we'll see what happens there. It's always interesting because I understand that people want their voices to be heard. No doubt about that. But I'm kind of confused on what that is going to do. So you're going to the street, you're going to protest. I get it. And listen, this applies to either side here on whoever's protesting whoever. But what is it accomplishing? I mean, it's bringing awareness, I would imagine. But most of the times, people that are meeting up are the same people that are doing the same stuff that you're already doing. I know, I hate getting political about this, but man, it gets interesting in regards of what the hell's going on.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about the numbers because some people are going to care about that. The Dow fell 301 points to close at 45,952 on Thursday. The S&P fell 41 points to close at 6,629, and the Nasdaq fell 107 points to close at 22,562. West Texas Intermediate closed at $57 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $61 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.05 on Thursday, and Bitcoin tanked on the day. Really tanked? That's the choice of words. Down over 2.6%, trading under $108,000. In some other stuff, tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $635 million jackpot or a $288.8 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for, are you ready for this? $295 million jackpot or a $138.1 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity
to do so.
So there you go. Some stuff always going on right there. Okay, so let's talk about this because over the weekend, I think it was over the weekend, Diane Keaton passed away. A family announced that she passed away from pneumonia. In the statement, they also thanked everyone for messages of love and support. Keaton was 79 at the time of her passing. This is according to Entertainment Weekly. So there you go. A lot of weird stuff going on lately, that's for sure. Take a listen to this in another excerpt of Kevin Federline's memoir, You Thought You Knew. He writes that he knew at the end of his marriage He writes that he knew that the end of his marriage to Britney Spears was coming after she slapped him during an argument after a friend of his dropped off marijuana at their home. He claims that she was holding one of their sons when she got physical with him. Federline also noted that the incident wasn't the only time that she allegedly assaulted him during the relationship. The final straw, however, was when he caught her snorting a fat line of coke off of a table during his album release party. Spears was reportedly breastfeeding at least one of their sons at the time. This is according to the U.S. Weekly. Meanwhile, Spears posted her thoughts of everything coming out so far from her ex's book. So there you go. Some stuff always going on there. Let me take a look here. Here's what she replied. The constant gaslighting from my ex-husband is extremely hurtful and exhausting. I have always pleaded and screamed to have a life with my boys. Relationships with teenage boys is complex. I have felt demoralized by the situation and have always asked and almost begged for them to be part of my life. Sadly, they have always witnessed the lack of respect shown by their father for me. They need to take responsibility for themselves, with one son seeing me for 45 minutes in the past 5 years and the other one 4 visits in 5 years. I have pride too. From now on, I will let them know when I am available. Trust me, Those white lies in that book, they are going straight to the bank, and I am the only one who generally gets hurt by them. I will always love them, and if you really know me, you won't pay attention to the tabloids of my mental health and drinking. I am actually a pretty intelligent woman and has been trying to live a sacred and private life for the past 5 years. I speak on that because I have had enough, and any real woman would do the same. So there you go. This is according to an Instagram post with almost 500,000 likes already. So there you go. What else do we got going on? Okay, after the controversial comments about the appearance of the same-sex couple on a Disney animated film Lightyear, Snoop Dogg has teamed up with GLAAD to back Spirit Day. Yep, the annual initiative, which took place yesterday, unites celebrities, influential voices, media outlets, studio brands, corporations, sports teams, and tech leaders, and more to wear purple for LGBTQ youth. Snoop is also collaborating with former mentee on The Voice, Jeremy Ballode, on the new song titled Love is Love, and it will be featured on this episode of the rapper's animated Doggyland on YouTube. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about real quick, no doubt about that. Okay, take a listen to this because we constantly talk about
professional wrestling
around here. So let's talk about this one. Vince McMahon appeared yesterday, in court for his reckless driving case and walked away with a slap on the wrist. Basically, if he keeps his nose clean for the next year, donates $1,000 to charity, and adheres to driving lawfully, all of his charges will be tossed in October of 2026. The charge stems from an incident over the summer when McMahon was allegedly swerving in and out of traffic while going 90 miles per hour and caused a 3-car wreck. This is according to The Patch. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. Let me talk about this. Let me talk about two more before we get the hell into the next section. Kristen Cavalieri has signed a multi-year 8-figure podcast deal with Dear Media to continue and expand her podcast, Let's Be Honest. The show covers topics like wellness and food to career and dating. Let's Be Honest launched 2 years ago. So there you go. This is according to IMDb. Congratulations to her on that. Also, Jim Carrey is in talks to lead the live-action version of the Jetsons movie. He will also reportedly be part of the writing of the script alongside with Colin Trevorrow. The Jetsons was a classic 1960s animated series that centered on a married couple, George and Jane Jetson, and the kids Judy and Elroy, dog Astro, and a robot maid named Rosie. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. Anyways, it's Freeform Friday, so that means you know what happens today? Talk a little bit about everything. You would normally get a main story right now, but that's not occurring today because it's Freeform Friday. So you know what we need to do? We need to do that thing that we normally do, which we call the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. President Trump will welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House on Friday. It comes after confirmation that Mr. Trump will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin again, this time in Budapest. Their first summit in Alaska drew criticism for failing to make progress on ending the war in Ukraine. Pablo Gutierrez reports from Budapest.
U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed the Budapest talks after separate phone calls with Putin and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. The White House said both sides agreed to continue discussions that began in Alaska in August. Orban said he spoke with Trump on Thursday and called the conversation encouraging, saying Hungary is honored to host talks focused on peace in Ukraine. Trump said the meeting could happen within about 2 weeks, with senior advisors from both sides scheduled to meet next week to prepare the agenda. The Alaska summit drew sharp criticism from Western officials who said Trump gave Putin a platform without results. Now, with Budapest set to host round 2, expectations are high for real progress.
Meanwhile, the European Commission is reportedly seeking to expand the funds available from frozen Russian assets. According to Politico, the EU wants to use an additional $30 billion sitting in private bank accounts to finance loans for Ukraine. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
The European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas is pushing to convert frozen Russian assets into loans for Ukraine. Earlier this week, she reiterated that Moscow should bear the cost of the war and not European taxpayers. The European Union continues to deliberate on whether to use roughly $160 billion in immobilised assets to financially support Kyiv. And the Commission reportedly wants to consider adding a further $30 billion in private bank accounts to the pot. There are concerns over the legality of such a move, with Russia threatening to sue the bloc should they move ahead with the plan.
Madagascar has a new leader. Colonel Michael Randrianarina has been sworn in as a transitional president. The colonel seized power in a rapid military coup that ousted the former president and forced him to flee the country. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has described a ban on Israeli fans attending a match against Aston Villa next month as the wrong decision. It was made by the local body responsible for issuing safety certificates in Birmingham and backed by West Midlands Police. Maccabi Tel Aviv are due to visit Villa Park in the Europa League on the 6th of November. West Midlands Conservative MP Saqib Bhatti says he's horrified by the ban.
It's a bad decision for the Jewish community. After 2 years of protests where anything goes, the attack in Manchester, and now this.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, ending this possibly momentous week in the Middle East with an update on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. As people start returning to whatever is left of their homes in the territory, there is still a desperate need for food, medicine and other humanitarian supplies. Aid agencies and the United Nations are now calling on Israel to allow thousands of trucks to enter Gaza, and they want more entry points beyond the Rafah crossing that connects the strip with Egypt. Ricardo Perez is a spokesperson for UNICEF.
Aid is getting in, it's just not getting in at the right quantity. The scale of destruction after over 2 years of war, unrelenting violence, and UNICEF managed to get a few dozen since Sunday, but the scale of need, the desperation, the deprivation that has been imposed on the people of Gaza, on over 1 million children, is just colossal, and it will take a lot more time and a lot more political will to make a difference beyond the temporary ceasefire.
Earlier this week, Israel said it would cut the number of aid convoys permitted to enter Gaza because Hamas failed to return all the promised bodies of hostages who died over the last 2 years of conflict. Hamas then handed over the remains of 3 more people to the Israelis and said they are continuing to try and locate burial sites where other hostage remains may be recovered. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, President Trump will welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House on Friday. It comes after confirmation that Mr. Trump will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin again, this time in Budapest. Meanwhile, the European Commission is reportedly seeking to expand the funds available from frozen Russian assets. And UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has described a ban on Israeli fans attending a match against Aston Villa next month as the wrong decision. That's the latest feature story news. John Beaver reporting.
Go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden feats, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Freeform radio never sounded this great. Or has it? Radio Big.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud.
Home Title Locks put a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
It's my kind of music.
I get the best mix of my favorite music.
All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
I wanna feel like I'm something. Can you hear me breathing? If everything means nothing, and only you and me are something, or we could be a miracle. Yeah, we could be a miracle.
Oh, yes, we can be a miracle. No doubt about that, as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Freeform Friday. No doubt there. You are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, broadcasting across the multiverse of Safety FM and Radio Big. Kind of the way that it goes. You know that we're on the visual radio side of Safety FM as well. Just a little FYI, if you're not catching us on one of the video streamers. So this right here that you're taking a listen to, it's Kabrio with Miracle. Songs readily available on YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music. So there you go. You got some options for you. We would like to thank Kabrio for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show, because we always like to play some music in regards to what's going on. So there you go. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. That's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Her Arms. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of this multiverse of ours. New movies coming out today. Black Phone 2. It's a horror mystery rated R as Finn, now 17, struggles with a life after captivity. His sister begins receiving calls in her dreams from the Black Phone and seeing disturbing vision of 3 boys being stalked at a winter camp. And some other ones, Good Fortune rated R comedy action. A well-meaning but inept angel named Gabriel meddles in the lives of struggling gig workers and wealthy venture capitalists. That comes out today. Also, After the Hunt rated R drama mystery. A college professor finds himself or herself at a crossroads when a star pupil levels accusations against one of her colleagues, and dark secrets from her own past threatens to come to light. So that comes out today. Also, Frankenstein rated R horror drama. It's a Netflix Plus limited release. Mary Shelley's classic tale of Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but egotistical scientist who brings a creature to life in a monstrous experiment that ultimately leads to undoing of both the creator and the tragic creation. So that comes out today. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about some sobering side effects. The same drugs that shrinking waistlines might be also sobering us up. And a student study finds that GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, popular for weight loss and diabetes, might also dual as alcohol effects. Researchers at the Virginia Tech found that the participants taking GLP-1 reported feeling less intoxicated and had lower or slower rises in blood alcohol levels, suggesting that drugs may also slow alcohol into the brain. This also makes it drinking less rewarding and reduces craving. Scientists say that it would pave the way for treatment for alcohol addiction. Early evidence also hints that GLP-1 may curb the addictive behaviors like smoking and opioid use, offering hope for recovery tools. This totally explains why everyone was sober Friday night at karaoke for moms. And Ozempic's saving waistlines and running happy hours since 2021. So there you go. A lot of stuff, that's for sure, in that particular regards. So what do you think? Are you on any of this GLP-1 stuff? If you are, how's it working for you? Are you having less alcohol? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. So there you go. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life because I think he's going to say something a lot more positive than I will ever say. Here's the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Diane. John C. Maxwell said, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." What a great quote. If you meet a person who claims to be a leader, but their actions and their words don't match, be very leery. If you say you believe in something, but you don't actually practice what you're preaching, why not? About 20 years ago, I went to a steakhouse and I asked the server, "What is your favorite thing?" And she said very sternly, "I am a vegetarian," which is fine with me, but I just thought it was an odd choice to work in a steakhouse then. If you know a certain way and you go a different way, it just seems like a really odd way to live your life.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. The books that appeal to you will likely vary, depending on the season of life in which you find yourself. On more than one occasion, I have started reading a highly recommended book, only to lay it aside in frustration. Was the book overrated or poorly written? Maybe. But more likely, I was not spiritually or emotionally ready for it. Sometimes I will return to the same book a year or two later and find that I cannot put it down. I am in a different season of life. And now it speaks to my soul. Proverbs 3:13 says, "Blessed is the man who finds wisdom." Lord Jesus, thank you for the wisdom hidden in the pages of books. Your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
On the Rated R Safety Show. Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
The United Nations has issued a sharp warning to Colombia over mercury contamination in the Atrato River caused by illegal gold mining.
The UN described the toxic pollution as a serious ongoing human rights crisis, threatening the indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities who depend on the river for their livelihoods. Officials say more than a third of the people in the affected area show mercury levels above World Health Organization limits. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Syria's interim president in Moscow today, reaffirming his support for the embattled Middle Eastern ally amid ongoing regional conflicts.
The Kremlin said talks focused on rebuilding Syria's energy infrastructure and maintaining joint military efforts. Analysts say the meeting underscores Russia's intent to strengthen influence in the Middle East following years of conflict. Moscow pledged new humanitarian aid and reconstruction support, though details remain unclear. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Israel says it has recovered more bodies of hostages who were handed over by Hamas as part of a ceasefire deal.
The Israeli military confirmed that one of the bodies turned over was not a hostage, deepening mistrust between the two sides and adding strain to a fragile truce. Authorities said the identification process of the remaining bodies continues as families desperate for information wait for closure. Israeli officials have said they will reassess the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza until all hostages are returned. Chris Anderson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Trump administration has announced a $20 billion bailout package for Argentina to stabilize its struggling economy.
U.S. officials said the bailout aims to prevent financial collapse as Argentina battles inflation and currency devaluation. Critics say details of the package remain scarce, with questions about how the funds will be governed. The Argentine government has pledged to increase transparency and fiscal discipline in exchange for U.S. support. Lawrence Keller reporting.
The average new car price in the United States has reached a record high of over $50,000, according to new data from Kelley Blue Book.
Analysts attribute the increase to tariffs, luxury vehicle demand, and the rising cost of electric cars. Industry experts say fewer Americans can now afford new vehicles, turning instead to the used car market. The report found that tariffs on imported parts have pushed up repair costs as well. Kyle Norris reporting.
A U.S. Marine based in California says his parents were detained by immigration authorities during a base visit, and one has since been deported.
The Marine told reporters his family's visit began as a routine base entry before ICE agents intervened. The Marine described the experience as humiliating and confusing, saying his mother remains in detention. Immigration officials have not commented on whether this was part of a larger enforcement effort. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio Big.
Oh, you know how it gets. It gets a little stinchy around here. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2006, the U.S. population reaches 300 million. Yep, I did say 300 million. That was back in 2006. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Aaron Kellyman turns 27. Felicity Jones, 42. Eminem turns 53. Chris Kirkpatrick, 54. Wood Harris turns 56. Doug McMillan, 59. Mike Judd, 63. Guy Henry, 65. Alan Jackson, 67. And Mae Johnson turns 69 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, it's National Pasta Day, International Day of Eradication of Poverty, National Payback a Friend Day, National Mammogram Day, Black Poetry Day, and World Trauma Day. Those are some days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so, of course. Also, if you need a rando-ando for today, I got a random joke for you, because why would I not have that on a Freeform Friday? No, I don't watch TikToks. I watch Instagram reels of TikToks that were popular 2 weeks ago, like a grown-up. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's the funniest talent that someone in your household possesses? I would like to hear that one. That one for sure would be interesting to hear. Let's see. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. The average person uses this once common item only 3 times a year. What is it? A DVD player. Well, if you have an Xbox, I guess you kind of use a DVD player to some extent. Think about that for a moment. Or is it a Blu-ray player? I mean, how do you look at it? Depending on which version you have of it. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, I'll be talking about the world of music and entertainment on that side of the planet. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here on Safety FM with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. That's it. That's going to sum up our time together. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. If someone makes you happy, make them happier. Think about that. That's an interesting one. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.